The rescue in the flames. Smoke filled the air. Flames roared across the ruined alien outpost. Buildings of black stone crumbled under falling debris. It looked like a battlefield, but it had once been a research center. Now, only fire and silence remained. Kyo, a 16-year-old human boy, moved carefully through the wreckage. He wasn't supposed to be there. His father, the captain of the rescue ship orbiting above, had warned him to stay inside. But Kyo was curious and brave, maybe too brave. His breathing was loud under the air mask. His boots crunched on broken glass. Every corner of the ruined base felt like it was watching him. Then he heard it. A soft, shaky sound, like a voice. A whisper. It was coming from beneath the rubble ahead. He ran. Behind a fallen wall he saw her, an alien girl. About his age, or maybe older. Her skin was glowing pale blue, her long silver hair was tangled with blood. One of her legs was trapped under a heavy metal beam. She looked weak. Her golden eyes stared at him, wide, scared, and surprised. "You? Human?" she asked in a soft voice. Kyo didn't answer at first. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. She was beautiful, but strange. Her skin shimmered like light on water. Her armor was broken. She had no weapon. "Yes," Kyo finally said. "I'm human. Don't be afraid. I'll help you." She looked confused. "Why?" He knelt beside her. "Because you're hurt. And because no one else is coming." The beam trapping her leg was heavy. Kyo tried to lift it, but it didn't move. He looked around quickly. A pipe nearby could be used as a lever. He grabbed it, wedged it under the beam, and pushed with all his strength. His muscles burned, his arms shook, then, crack, the beam shifted just enough. The girl screamed in pain, but her leg slid free. Kyo dropped the pipe and helped her sit up. She was breathing hard. Her skin looked dimmer now. "You should have left me," she whispered. "I couldn't," he said. "You don't understand. They're watching. They'll come back." Then, "We need to go now." Kyo helped her stand, but she cried out again. Her leg was badly hurt. She couldn't walk. He made a decision. He picked her up. She gasped in surprise. Her arms wrapped weakly around his neck. "You are strange. You haven't met many humans," Kyo said with a small smile. "We're all strange." He carried her through the burning ruins. Explosions echoed in the distance. The air was thick with ash, but he didn't stop. Outside, his small rescue pod was hidden behind some rocks. He placed her inside and shut the door. The AI scanned her and beeped. "Unknown. Alien species. Genetic scan. Royal markers detected." Kyo looked at her. "Royal? You're a princess?" She said nothing. The pod took off, lifting them into the sky. Inside the pod, she touched her forehead, then reached out and gently touched his. Her fingertip glowed as it made contact. A strange warmth spread through his head. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Marking you," she said quietly. "So they remember." "Remember what?" "That you saved me. That you were the first." He didn't understand. "Why?" Her golden eyes locked on his. "You're not ready now," she whispered. "But one day, when you're older, come back. They will listen to you then." "Who? Who will listen?" But her eyes closed. She had passed out. Back on the main ship, Kyo's father was furious at first, but when he saw the alien girl, unconscious but alive, even he was shocked. The medical staff rushed her away. No one knew who she was, or why her DNA glowed. Later, Kyo sat alone in his room. He stared at the mark on his forehead. It was invisible, in the mirror, but he could feel it. Like a memory burned into skin. He didn't even know her name. But her voice echoed in his mind. "Come back when you're older." And he promised himself. He would. Years passed, but her words remained. 7 years later. The stars above Earth hadn't changed, but Keo had. He was no longer a curious teen sneaking through a forbidden alien ruin. Now, he was a 23-year-old star pilot, tall, sharp-eyed, and trained in both combat and diplomacy. He had served in 3 planetary wars, flown into black holes, and seen entire cities vanish in orbital strikes. But nothing ever erased the memory of her. That glowing alien girl with silver hair and golden eyes, Cerelia. He didn't even know her name back then. Yet every time he saw flames or heard the sound of crumbling metal, his mind went back to that moment. Her whisper, her finger touching his forehead, and her final words. "Come back when you're older. They will listen to you then." He had searched for years, quietly, secretly. No one on Earth had records of her species. Every scan of that destroyed outpost had been erased, classified by some unknown alien authority. Even his father refused to speak about it, but Keo never gave up. Now, finally, there was a sign. A smuggler ship from the Driakan system arrived at a neutral port. The crew was wounded. They spoke of a rebel queen, a glowing woman with golden eyes and silver hair, hiding somewhere deep inside a forbidden planet's jungle ruins. A woman the Empire had put a bounty on. Wanted alive. Last royal of House Valharan. Keo's heart nearly stopped. That had to be her. He packed his bag, loaded his ship, and set coordinates to the planet the smugglers had whispered about. Elari Prime, a place now locked down by an alien syndicate known as the Varkos Enclave, famous for wiping out royal bloodlines and enslaving survivors. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. This wasn't a mission. This was a promise. The planet's surface was dark and full of shadows. Thick jungles wrapped around ruined towers and old temples. The air smelled of damp stone and wild energy. Strange glowing insects buzzed around fallen statues. Keo moved silently, using old terrain scans from his father's archives. But something was wrong. He wasn't alone. High above in the trees, red eyes watched him, invisible cloaking drones. And, worse, he saw Varkos Enclave markings on black trees, signs of patrols nearby. Still he moved forward, toward the coordinates the smugglers had spoken of. Deep in the jungle ruins was a hidden city, Valsar, once the capital of a powerful alien race, and then he found it. A tall tower of white stone hidden beneath thick vines and moss. Its gates were sealed, its guards disguised as jungle wanderers. Keo approached carefully, raising his hands. "I seek the one with golden eyes," he said in their language. The guards raised their weapons. "No outsiders." "I carry her mark," Keo said. Then he pointed to his forehead. "She touched me 7 years ago." The guards hesitated. Then, one of them stepped forward. "Wait here." He was blindfolded and led through tunnels for hours. Voices whispered around him. Some called him a liar. Others sounded amazed. And finally, silence. The blindfold came off. He was in a massive stone chamber, filled with blue light and old carvings. And sitting on a throne of silver and crystal was her, Cerelia, older now, fiercer, wearing dark armor laced with glowing threads. Her golden eyes were sharper. Her long hair now flowed down her back like moonlight. She looked at him and said nothing. Keo stepped forward, slowly, respectfully. "I kept my promise." She stood. Guards flinched, ready to protect her, but she raised her hand. Then she walked down the steps, stopping just in front of him. "You've changed," she said softly. "So have you," Keo replied. She raised her hand again as if to touch his forehead, but paused. "Is it still there?" "Yes," he whispered. Her fingers gently brushed the spot. A golden glow appeared. The same mark, unchanged since the day she gave it to him. The chamber gasped. A few dropped to their knees. "Do you even know what that mark means, human?" she asked. He shook his head. No, only that it never faded. Her voice turned serious. It means you were chosen. As protector, maybe more. But in this world, such marks carry costs. Kyo frowned. What kind of costs? Suddenly, loud, alarms rang through the hall. Explosions echoed outside. One of the guards ran in. The Varkos have found us. Everyone looked to Cerelia, but her eyes were locked on Kyo. You were supposed to come back when it was safe, she whispered. Now it's war. The woman behind the throne. The rebel base was under attack. Red lights flashed through the ancient halls of Valesar. Explosions shook the marble floors. The once hidden city, carved deep beneath the alien jungle, was now exposed. Kyo stood frozen as screams echoed in the distance. The guards rushed out with weapons drawn. Cerelia, now fully armored in silver and black battle plating, turned toward him. You shouldn't have come now, she said. They must have tracked your ship. You've led them here. I disabled my trackers, Kyo replied firmly. I came alone. She looked at him, long and hard, then nodded. Even if that's true, they're here now, and we must move. Where? To the throne chamber, she said. If I fall, they'll destroy the legacy of my entire bloodline. But if I reach the throne, I activate the ancient law. What law? Cerelia didn't answer. Instead, she turned sharply and ran. Kyo followed her through winding halls, past murals of glowing warriors, past old alien statues, past wounded rebels being dragged to safety. The city was a maze of ancient technology and broken history. Kyo noticed that the walls were covered, with alien writings glowing faintly under their touch. Some pulsed as Cerelia walked past them. Others reacted to the mark on Kyo's forehead. It was like the city recognized him. At the throne chamber's gates, two massive stone guards stood, mechanical giants with ancient energy cores in their chests. As Cerelia approached, they raised their weapons, but then slowly lowered them. But when Kyo stepped forward, they knelt. The guards inside gasped. He carries the echo mark, one whispered. He bears the key, another said. Cerelia turned to him, stunned. The mark I gave you, she said slowly, it wasn't just for protection. It bound you to the throne's seal. You weren't just meant to return, you were meant to unlock the throne. Kyo blinked. What does that mean? It means, she said, walking closer, that you're not here as a visitor anymore. The throne itself was massive, carved from pure star crystal, floating slightly above the platform. Lines of light ran along the floor and into the ancient stone. As Kyo stood near it, the platform lit up, reacting to his presence. The room shook again. Explosions grew louder. The Varkos forces were closing in. Sit, Cerelia said, her voice low. What? Sit on the throne. Now. Kyo hesitated, but the mark on his forehead began to glow on its own. His heartbeat matched its pulsing. He stepped forward and sat. A low hum spread through the room. The walls lit up. Ancient machines powered on for the first time in centuries. Hidden doors opened. Dozens of battle drones emerged from the shadows, ready for orders. Then, an ancient alien voice echoed, He who bears the royal bond, command shall be yours. Protector of Val'Haran, rise. Kyo stood, glowing faintly. His body felt different, sharper, stronger, connected. Cerelia approached him. In our legends, she said, a time would come when our throne must be awakened, not by blood, but by bond. I gave that bond to you 7 years ago. I thought it was only for protection. She paused. But the city chose you. Suddenly, the main gate shattered. Varkos Enclave soldiers stormed in, wearing black armor, breathing through tubes holding advanced plasma rifles. Behind them walked a tall figure, Lord Hask, the one who led the purge of her family years ago. He pointed at Cerelia. I warned you, girl. There's no throne for you. There's no savior. His eyes landed on Kyo. A human? You brought a human to our war? Kyo stepped forward. The throne behind him began to glow brighter. "I'm not just a human," he said calmly. "I'm the key you feared." Lord Hask laughed. "You think we fear you?" Keo raised one hand. The throne's defense systems roared to life. Dozens of energy bolts fired from the ceiling, forcing the invaders to duck, scatter, or get fried on the spot. The air was filled with smoke, screams, and flashing blue light. Keo looked at Cerelia. "Get to safety," but she shook her head. "We fight together." They moved as one. Keo and Cerelia charged into battle side by side. Plasma burned the air around them. He fired alien weapons he didn't even train with, yet his hands knew how. The mark glowed hotter each second. Cerelia's twin blades slashed through armor like paper. Her eyes burned with fury. Together they pushed the Varkos back step by step, until only Lord Hask remained. Wounded, furious, he aimed a hidden blade at Cerelia, ready to strike from behind. But Keo moved faster. He grabbed the blade with his bare hand, bleeding, but standing firm. "You're done," he whispered, and with one punch, powered by the throne's bond, he sent Hask flying across the chamber. After the battle, silence returned. The city had survived. Cerelia looked at Keo, breathing hard. "You were just a boy when you saved me. Now you're something else." Keo nodded. "Now I want to know what comes next." She stepped closer. "Then be ready, because this was only the beginning." The trials of fire and blood. The throne room was quiet now, but it wasn't peace. It was the eye of the storm. Cerelia stood beside Keo, her face calm but her eyes troubled. The flames of the recent battle still flickered in nearby corridors. The scent of smoke, blood, and plasma still lingered. Keo lowered his weapon and sat slowly on the edge of the glowing throne platform. "What now?" he asked. Cerelia looked toward the massive carvings behind the throne, giant circular patterns etched with alien symbols. "The bond between us was more than I expected," she said. "But it's only the beginning." She walked toward the carvings. Her hand touched a glowing circle, and with a hiss the stone split open, revealing a hidden spiral staircase leading downward into the earth. Keo followed without hesitation. The path led to an underground chamber unlike any Keo had seen before. It was silent, cold. The walls pulsed with soft light. Alien glyphs floated mid-air like frozen mist. A giant symbol of two circles crossing each other hovered above the center of the chamber. There, an old being stood, tall, thin, glowing softly in blue robes. His eyes were milky white, but when he looked at Keo, it felt like the past and future both stared through him. "The human returns," the old one whispered, "and bears the mark of a queen." Keo hesitated. "Who are you?" "I am Orental, the last of the Trial Keepers," the being said. "Your bond with her awakened the throne, but the throne cannot be held by two hearts unless they are both proven in trial." Keo glanced at Cerelia. She stood firm but didn't speak. Orental raised a bony finger. "There are 3 trials: fire, wisdom, blood. If you pass them, the bond is sealed and your fates are one. If you fail, you both lose the throne and your lives." Keo didn't blink. "Then I take the first trial. Now." Trial 1. Fire. The chamber turned red. The floor below. Keo vanished, and he dropped straight down into a massive pit. He hit the ground hard. All around him fire blazed, walls of moving flame alive like creatures. Strange glowing shapes danced between the heat. They hissed, whispered his fears, and mocked his strength. Suddenly a mirror rose from the ground in front of him. In it, he saw a version of himself. Scared, younger, weak. "You left her behind," it said. "You were just a boy." Keo's fists clenched. "I came back." "You think bravery makes you worthy?" the mirror hissed. "Prove it." The flames rose and charged. Keo didn't run. He stepped into the fire. His skin burned. His body screamed, but he kept walking, because the mark on his head glowed brighter with each step, shielding him with golden light. And just like that, the fire bowed. The trial chamber faded. Trial 2. Wisdom Keo now stood in a void. All was black except a giant floating cube with shifting faces. Each side displayed alien symbols, languages, equations. Orental's voice echoed in the air. Solve the pattern of the ancients. Your mind must match your heart. The cube spun, past symbols appearing and vanishing. Keo saw flashes. Cerelia's face, the throne, the mark, and the word trust in her language. That was the answer, not logic, but belief. He stepped forward, touched the cube, and whispered, "I trust her." The cube glowed, then shattered like light. He passed. Trial 3. Blood. This time, Keo awoke. In chains, he was strapped to a cold table. Beside him stood Lord Hask's brother, a twisted Varkos general named Graal. His face was full of rage. "You think you're her savior?" Graal spat. "She's royalty. You're a pet. A mistake." Keo stayed silent. Graal held a knife made of shimmering crystal. "Tell her you are unworthy, and I let you live." Keo stared at him, then smiled. "I'd rather die than leave her side." Graal roared and stabbed him. Pain shot through Keo's body. Blood poured from the wound. But just before he blacked out, the chains glowed and shattered. The mark on his head pulsed again. He rose from the table, bleeding, furious, alive. And he punched. Graal through the wall. Keo awoke in Cerelia's arms. She was crying. "You passed," she whispered. "You passed them all." "I'd do it again," he muttered. The chamber of trials began to hum. Orental stood once more. "You are bound," he said. "You are now of the royal line. A protector, yes, but more. A partner." The throne now belonged to both of them, and far above the ruins, ships began to move in the sky. The Varkos High Command had arrived, and this time, they were coming in full force. Betrayal under the moons. Night fell over the shattered ruins of Valesar. 2 alien moons glowed above the jungle, casting pale silver light over ancient towers and broken stone statues. But even in the silence of the night, tension filled the air like a storm waiting to strike. Keo stood at the edge of the temple balcony, his eyes fixed on the stars above. His body still ached from the trials. The glowing mark on his forehead had grown brighter, now pulsing gently like a heartbeat. It connected him to the throne, and to Cerelia. Inside, she sat with her council, alien rebels, old royal advisors, and warriors of different species. They were arguing, whispering, debating. One word kept coming up: Varkos. The High Command had entered the system with warships, massive, dark, and silent. Their banners now hovered in the sky like blades waiting to fall. "They will destroy us," said one elder. "We must offer something in return," said another. "A royal surrender," someone dared to say. Cerelia stood. "No, we will not kneel." Keo stepped inside. "Then we prepare for war." But not everyone agreed. In the shadows, a betrayal was already unfolding. A trusted general, Virex, commander of Cerelia's outer patrols, watched from the corridor, his sharp eyes hidden behind a metallic mask. He had once sworn loyalty to Cerelia's family, but now, fear had grown in his heart. He sent a signal. Coordinates. To the Varkos High Command. In exchange, they promised him safety, a new rank, and a kingdom of his own. He had seen what Keo could do. The way the ancient machines obeyed him. The way Cerelia looked at him, not like a protector, but like a partner. Virex had no place in that future. So, he decided to erase it. That night, as Keo trained in the temple yard, Cerelia approached him quietly. She watched him from a distance before finally speaking. "You've changed everything," she said. "I'm just trying to help," Kyo replied. "You've done more than that," she said, stepping closer. "You've made people believe again in hope and strength in me." He looked into her golden eyes. "I came back because of what you said, but I stayed because of who you are." She reached out, her fingers brushing the glowing mark on his forehead. "You've become part of this world now," she whispered, "and that scares them." Suddenly, an explosion rocked the outer wall. Screams, blaster fire. The Varkos were already inside. Kyo ran toward the blast site with Cerelia behind him. Dozens of rebels rushed through the hallways. Some were cut down by red plasma bolts. Others tried to fight back. But something was wrong. The Varkos weren't attacking randomly. They knew the layout. They moved with purpose. They were heading straight for the throne room. Cerelia stopped cold. "Someone betrayed us." Kyo's jaw tightened. "Who?" Before she could answer, another blast shook the ground. The ancient doors of the throne chamber were burning. Kyo charged ahead. Inside, General Virex stood with 3 Varkos officers. Cerelia froze when she saw him. "You," she whispered. "I warned you, Princess," Virex growled. "You placed your trust in a human. You gave him our throne." Kyo stepped forward. "You think this is about power?" Virex pointed his plasma spear at Kyo. "I think you are the reason we'll lose everything." "And I think," Kyo said, drawing his blade, "you just picked the wrong side of history." The fight was brutal. Virex moved like lightning, trained in 100 alien martial arts. Kyo barely dodged the first few strikes. He felt the heat of the plasma slicing past his face. But he held his ground. Cerelia joined the battle, fighting 2 Varkos officers at once. Her twin blades spun with fury, but Virex focused only on Kyo. "You don't belong here," he shouted. "You're an outsider." Kyo blocked a strike. "No, I'm the one who came back." With a roar, Kyo drove his blade through Virex's armor right into his chest. Virex gasped, staring at the glowing mark on Kyo's forehead one last time. "May the stars judge you," he whispered, and collapsed. After the battle, silence returned to the throne chamber. Cerelia sat beside Kyo as medics tended to the wounded. The council entered slowly, their faces pale with shame. "Forgive us," one of them said. "We doubted you." Kyo shook his head. "Don't ask for forgiveness, just stand with us now." Cerelia looked at the stars through the broken ceiling. "They'll be back," she said softly. "Varkos doesn't accept failure. And when they return," Kyo said, rising to his feet, "we'll show them what happens when they push too far." She stood beside him, shoulder to shoulder. No longer princess and protector. Now rulers of resistance, but high above the planet. The Varkos High General had seen everything. He leaned forward in his throne aboard a massive warship. "The human lives," he growled. "Send the fleet. Burn the planet. Take the throne." The real war had just begun. The final bond. The skies above Ilari Prime burned red. Dozens of Varkos warships now hovered above the ancient jungle city of Valesar. Their dark hulls blocked the moons. Their weapons glowed hot, humming with destruction. The High General's command ship floated. In the center, a beast of metal ready to strike. Inside the rebel stronghold, alarms rang loud. Fighters were being prepped, shields activated. But Cerelia's forces were too small, too scattered. After the betrayal of General Virex, they had lost key supply lines. Still, no one backed down. Cerelia stood tall before her warriors, dressed in her full royal battle armor. Beside her stood Kyo, no longer just the outsider. His armor was custom forged from old throne alloys, fused with ancient energy lines that pulsed with his mark. The throne chamber now glowed with a light not seen in generations, and together, they prepared for the last stand. Cerelia led her people to the outer defense towers. She gave orders, activated hidden turrets, and placed Kyo in command of the forward assault. But before they separated, she pulled him aside into a quiet corridor. Her voice was soft but urgent. "Kyo," she said, "there's something I must tell you. The final bond between us. It's not just symbolic. It's not just political." "What is it then?" She looked into his eyes, golden and glowing. "If one of us dies in battle, the other will lose the mark. The connection. The throne. Everything." Kyo froze. "So if I fall, you fall too," she whispered. He touched the mark on his head. It burned slightly, like it understood the risk. Then he nodded. "Then we fight like neither of us can die." The first wave came fast. Varkos dropships tore through the clouds like arrows of fire. They landed across the jungle floor, unleashing armored soldiers, tanks, and walkers. Giant beasts controlled by mind links stomped across the forest, roaring with alien rage. Kyo led the counterstrike. He moved like he had done this 1,000 times. He wasn't just fighting, he was commanding. Rebel fighters followed his voice. Drones synced with his suit. The ancient city's defenses responded to his thoughts. Saralaya watched from the high tower. Her heart beat fast, not from fear, but from something deeper. She had never trusted anyone this much. But then came the second wave. The Varkos High General himself descended, towering in size, wrapped in living armor, carrying a weapon made from the bones of ancient Aelari kings. He struck with fury, cutting down rebel lines. Kyo rushed to stop him. Their clash was like thunder on the battlefield. Blow after blow, they traded attacks. Sparks flew, armor cracked, blood spilled. "You're nothing but a thief of power," the High General shouted. "I never wanted power," Kyo yelled back. "I wanted to protect her." The Varkos general slammed him into the stone wall. "You don't belong in our war." "I do now." Kyo's mark blazed brighter than ever. He drew his twin energy blades and slashed through the general's chest. But the monster didn't fall. Instead, he struck Cerelia. She had come to help, arriving behind Kyo just seconds too late. The blade pierced her side. Time slowed. Kyo screamed. "No!" He caught her as she fell. Her blood was silver, her armor cracked. She looked up at him, her voice, "Weak, I told you. The bond." Kyo's eyes filled with tears. "Don't say it," he whispered. "We're not done." The mark on his forehead started to fade. "No," he growled. "I won't let this end." He stood, eyes burning, heart racing. And then, something happened no one expected. The throne responded from across the city. A beam of golden light shot from the sky. It struck Kyo's body, and he rose from the ground glowing like a sun reborn. The final bond was no longer just between hearts. It became part of the world itself. He flew forward. With one strike, he shattered the Varkos general's armor. With another, he split his weapon in two. And with the last, he brought the monster to his knees. The battlefield fell silent. Kyo collapsed beside Cerelia. Her eyes fluttered open. You didn't let go," she whispered. "I never will," he said. She touched his cheek. The mark returned. Stronger, shared now between both of them. Above, the Varkos ships began to retreat. Their command was broken. Their fear had returned. They had seen what they feared most. A human and an alien queen, bonded by something stronger than blood. Return of the king. The battlefield was quiet now. Smoke rose from the broken jungle trees. Shattered machines and silent alien corpses lay across the ruins of Valsar. The two moons still hung in the sky, watching like ancient gods. But something had changed. For the first time in centuries, the city had survived. Inside the throne hall, rebel medics worked to stabilize the wounded. Others carefully carried the unconscious Varkos general's body away, stripped of armor and power. Fearful whispers spread through the ranks. The throne chose the human. The prophecy is real. He saved her with light. But none of that mattered to Kyo right now. All he cared about was the girl lying in his arms. Cerelia. She was breathing, barely, But she was alive. Her armor was cracked. Her silver hair was streaked with blood. The golden glow in her eyes had dimmed but not died, and on her forehead, for the first time, the same mark as Kyo's had appeared, shining faintly. The bond had completed. Later, in the healing chambers, beneath the temple, Cerelia slowly opened her eyes. She blinked, dazed. Kyo sat at her side, bruised and bandaged, his hand gently wrapped around hers. "You're safe," he whispered. Her voice was weak. "So are you," Kyo smiled. "I told you I'd come back, but I didn't know I'd stay forever." Cerelia managed a smile, small but real. "You were never meant to leave." By the next day, the news had spread across the galaxy. The Varkos enclave had fallen back. Their generals were scattered, their ships broken. Their fear of the ancient bond, now proven, had shaken them. Many rebel planets lit fires in celebration. Banners of House Valharan flew again for the first time in generations. Cerelia's name became a symbol of freedom. But alongside hers, Kyo's name was spoken with awe. Not as an outsider, not as a visitor, but as something more. The human, chosen by the throne. A great gathering was held in the old courtyard of Velsar, all remaining houses of power. Alien leaders from distant systems, survivors, fighters, healers, children, all waited to see what came next. Cerelia stood tall in flowing white and silver royal robes, the glowing crown of her ancestors now resting above her brow. Her strength had returned, but now her presence carried something new. Hope. Beside her stood Kyo, no longer wearing armor. His clothing was simple but elegant. A single glowing line ran across his chest, from his heart to the mark on his forehead, a symbol of the bond, a symbol of choice. Cerelia raised her hand. "In the beginning," she said, "we were told humans were wild, too emotional, too different." She turned to look at Kyo. Her voice softened. "But one saved me when I had nothing." She faced the crowd again. "He did not come for power. He came because I asked him to. He fought beside me. He bled for our cause. He passed the trials not by force, but by heart." She reached out her hand toward Kyo. "And today, I name him not just protector, not just partner, but ruler, with me, as king." Gasps rippled across the courtyard. But then, one by one, they bowed. The rebels, the warriors, the council, even the old enemies who had surrendered. Kyo looked around, overwhelmed. "I didn't ask for this." Cerelia smiled. "That's why you were chosen." That night, a new light shone from the top of the Velsar Tower. The mark of the bonded throne, two glowing circles crossing, now lit the sky. Under that light, children sang stories of the human who returned, of the alien queen who waited, and of a love that rewrote the laws of an empire. He was just a boy when he saved her. She was just a girl when she believed in him. And when he came back, not as a child but as a man, he didn't just change her world, he became part of it, one forever.